What's up, everybody? Wanted to give you a recap on how the Christenson fish was coming along. Right now, I just mixed some sanding resin to backfill these bummer looking pressure dents. And as you can see at this angle, it backfilled them pretty nice. You can tell when I come on top of that with a sander, it'll be perfectly flush. I like the bottom of my boards to be pretty clean. The deck, on the other hand, is another matter. I just leave those alone. I like keeping it flush. And I don't think this resin adds much weight. It's just a very tiny bit. And you can see I have it propped up on something here just to keep it level. You see that? So it doesn't run off. You can see this one I want to do next, but because it's not level, I'm going to come back at it later and level off this section of the board using whatever spacer I have around. You know, again, it's all about using what you have around. This is a coffee mixing stick, and this is an old paper cup from a pizza parlor that would have got thrown away, but we're upcycling around here. And finally, here is the finished Futures fin box. You can see it came out really nice and flush, and it feels really strong and sturdy, and the fin's gonna fit in there just right. So how did I sand this? I used 60 grit on an orbital sander. I go around the outside of that patch we laid last night, try to flush that out, and then I take a few quick passes over the top just to take it down a little bit. And from there, I'm doing the rest by hand, just some quick hand sanding, keeping the sandpaper going in the same direction. The tool is meant to do the bulk of the work to get it flush, and the rest of the sanding I blend by hand. I'll use a 60 grit, and I'll finish it off with 120 grit. It doesn't need to be polished or anything crazy like that, because this is a sanded finished board and it's clear. They're the best to sand for sure. And here's how, let me focus on that, the tips of the fishtail came out too, that we poured in using that same batch of sanding resin that we used on the box. You can see everything came out nice and tight and sharp. And you could lay cloth over this, but I'm not going to bother. It feels good the way it is. And I like using clear. I don't like having a big white spot on my board. You could obviously use like a Q-Sil filler, or a Cabasil would be good, but this is just straight sanding resin. And, you know, some people are accident prone. They're probably just going to chip these off again. But I'm careful with my boards. I know I'm not going to put down on this tail. And so that should hold up well. I'm not going to overdo it. And so I also wanted to give you a little tip on this flush out with the resin. So I use less catalyst when I backfill these pressure dents. It's about 62 degrees out. I'm just doing this by feel. So I mixed a couple tablespoons of resin in this cup, and normally I'd use about 18 drops of catalyst in that, but this time for this I used 12. And so the reason why you don't want to cook the resin super hot when you're backfilling these areas is because there's something in chemistry called exotherm, and so when the resin pulls up when it's catalyzed, it tends to go off hotter than it normally would when it's spread thinly. So that's why you want to back off the catalyst, just slightly less amount. That way it doesn't go off too hot in these pools. And yeah, likewise, just going to be patient with it. Going to let that sit overnight. It's lunchtime here, probably won't get to sanding it till this afternoon. It's all about patience, letting things dry out super thoroughly. Don't rush it. As you can see, I have plenty of other boards I can be writing, so not worried about it, just taking it slow. And I'll let you guys know how it comes out. Talk to you later. Don't forget to like and subscribe.